We bring Keith Pompey in from the Inquirer, 97.3 ESPN.com. And, Keith, thanks for joining us. Obviously there's a lot of debate back and forth on this, but after Thursday night, are the stakes up? Are there expectations now? Has everything changed due to Thursday night?
Why? Because they got the first pick?
Well, I mean, because there's new guys running this. They got the first pick. It seems like, is there a different feel around this team all of a sudden that winning will now matter?
I mean, they already said that. I mean, they said that like a couple months ago. But at the same time, it's one of those things where it's just another step. I mean, they're not going to. I mean, we can't come out here and say, oh, they got the number one pick. They're going to go from 10 wins to 30 wins. Or 40 wins. I mean, it's just not going to happen. It's still a process. I mean, the fact is, are they still tanking? No, they're not tanking anymore. They're going in these games trying to win, but at the same time, it's still going to be a part of the rebuilding process. Not the process, but part of a rebuilding process to get a good team in here down the road.
Now, Keith, Friday, Brett Brown was on with us, and I kind of asked him about Embiid, and there's been a lot of talk. All right, light 5-on-5, controlled 5-on-5. He basically said, look, if we let him, he'd be able to play in the summertime. I mean, those were his words, really. Yes, if we would let him, he would play in the summer. Do you think that they are, at this point, counting on him to play?
In the summer league?
No, during the regular. They said they're not going to let him.
I think, from the people that I've spoken to, they said that he's further. Well, of course, we all know that because he's going 5-on-5. He's further along than what he is, than where he was last year. I just think it's a matter of being cautiously optimistic, because as long as you have this injury, the wrong slip or the wrong coming down after getting a rebound, anything, you can hurt the foot again. So I think it's one of those things where, they also know that, we're a couple seasons away from being a serious contender. Let's just take our time and do everything smart and try to get this guy on the court healthy. And the one thing is, we have to be realistic. He has not played basketball in over 2 years because his season was cut short in Kansas. So yes, he has to get his stamina up. He has to get his confidence back. Not saying that he doesn't have it, but what I'm saying is confidence as far as 5-on-5, playing that way. So I think that they're doing the right thing by taking their time and gradually bringing them back.
Yeah, for you, Keith, what's a realistic expectation? I mean, do you think he plays every night, major minutes? Is they going to cut his minutes? Does he doesn't play back-to-backs, doesn't play? What is an expectation in your mind for him this season?
I don't really, to be honest with you, I'm going in it without any expectations. But I will tell you, with Brett Brown said, his expectation is to have him on a gradual minute restriction, and right now, I think they don't want him to play back-to-back games, because they don't want the wear and tear. So it's they want to gradually bring him in. But as far as, I don't know. I mean, I know what his foot is hurt. I mean, you know that he broke his foot twice. You see how other people weren't able to come back. You see that he's trying to come back. So to me, and also to a lot of the people who work with the Sixers and cover the Sixers, this is new to us. So it wouldn't be fair to him if I said, okay, I expect him to do this and I expect him to do that. So I really don't have any expectations. Sorry.
Keith Pompey from the Inquirer. You wrote the piece about Simmons excited about rejoining Embiid on the court. What is their background together? How do they know each other? Where that excitement is there?
Well, it's funny, when Joel Embiid came to America, he played at Montverde Christian Academy, but it was funny because he left the year before Ben Simmons arrived and went to the same school. But a lot of his friends were still at the school, so what he did is he came back for a pickup game, and they kind of meshed well. I mean, it was one of those things where Ben kept getting him the ball, and Ben was, at that time, he really liked Joel's footwork. And so he raves about Joel all the time, and he just can't wait to come back and play with him because he knows that, back then Joel was extremely raw, and he was kind of like new to the game. And now you look at him, he grew 2 inches, he's bulked up. So he's really looking forward to playing with, I guess he calls you, or you can say Joel Embiid .2.
The irony there is you said he likes his footwork, isn't it? The ironic part is that's what's basically kept him out all this time, Keith. And, they didn't do anything draft night. Noel and Okafor are still here. Will that be the case when they get to camp?
I don't know. You would assume probably not, just because, it's one of those things where, you still have to try to look and see if you can get a deal for them. The difference is before they were trying to get draft picks, now they're trying to get players, get in the right situation. So, I think, though, but the one thing I have to commend Colangelo for is that, he has in target of, he knows what he wants to get in return. And he's not going to basically give them away for what he thinks isn't equal value. So you have to commend him for that. And the fact that he probably didn't give them away, there's going to be some teams that say, well, look, he's not as desperate as we thought. So maybe we may have to, up the stakes a little bit so we can get the guy that we need.
Keith Pompey, the 76ers, and free agency starts on Thursday. I'm sure Keith will have plenty on the preview of the free agent class coming up, and we'll see if there's any fits for the Sixers. He's at Pompey on Sixers for more. And, of course, Philly.com, the Inquirer here on the Sports Bash 97.3 ESPN. Thank you, Keith.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.